Hello, my name is Grace Wheeler, and the scenario I chose was the shark conservation efforts off the coast of Florida. This was a scenario about deciding what would be better to help the environment and tourism efforts in Florida, specifically whether to support shark conservation efforts or to not support shark conservation efforts. And the first decision was exactly that, whether to support the shark conservation efforts or to not support them. And I ended up choosing to support the shark conservation efforts. And one of the main reasons I chose that is if we don't help with shark conservation, the fact that the population of sharks around the coast of Florida is decreasing can cause big issues, specifically with biodiversity and the ecosystem health of the coral reef ecosystems, which is one of the main ecosystems of where the sharks are. And if we end up losing a lot of the shark population there'd be less biodiversity, less species diversity, specifically because, again, we are losing species of sharks in that environment. And we would be, it would heavily impact the environment. In the video of why is biodiversity so important, it talks about losing even one species in an environment, even if that species isn't a keystone species, which sharks aren't in the reef ecosystem. It can impact that ecosystem, and it can cause a big shift in it, whether that's losing a predator and there being too many of a certain type of species or something like that. And the next decision was how do we go about the conservation efforts? And the two different decisions were to restrict conservation efforts to coral reefs or to conserve sharks while protecting the public through shark relocation and diversion. I ended up deciding to restrict the conservation efforts to coral reefs, as the coral reefs are the main place that again, the sharks live, and losing the shark population would impact that. And even though coral reefs are a large part of tourism, the coral reefs are the shark's natural habitat, and they do play a big part in that. And if we were to relocate them or divert the sharks away from these coral reefs, we'd be removing a number of shark species and a number of that species from its natural habitat. And again, that would, because of biodiversity and everything, impact the environment. And in that same video, the why is biodiversity so important, around the 2-minute and 35-second mark, it talks about how the coral is the keystone species of that environment, and how poaching impacts that, and poaching or losing species, specifically sharks, can impact the coral reef and would impact the rest of that environment.